There are approximately 285 species of bird of prey in the world. This does not include the owls, which have important anatomical features distinguishing them from the diurnal birds of prey. Diurnal means active during the day. The legendary Mauritius kestrel used to be not only the world's rarest bird of prey, or raptor, but also the world's rarest bird. There were 4 known birds in the mid-70s, 1 breeding pair and 2 unpaired males. Its story is a conservation epic. Nowadays, the Philippine eagle is considered the world's rarest bird of prey. Unfortunately, not far behind it is the Lugger falcon. 5 years ago, a conservation project was set up. Since then, the population has made substantial progress, but still the project has much work to do to halt the drastic decline of the Lugger falcon in the wild. Naomi Johns, co-director of the West of England Falconry Centre, is press officer for Project Lugger. She talked to me today about the work the project is doing. I began by asking her, why is a conservation project for the Lugger falcon necessary?
Up with in his own falconry career and grown to love and know, was rapidly disappearing and not to be seen so commonly in falconry in Europe. And it was only then that he realised how quickly they were declining out in the wild and literally nothing was being done to stop it. So that's when Project Lugger was founded in 2017.
Why does the Lugger falcon have so many common names? Lugger, Lagger, Jagger.
There's quite a few, aren't there?
Yeah.
So the main reason for that is just because there's a lot of different spoken language across India and Pakistan where they're native. So throughout that region, several different languages are used to refer to the same species. So there's some variations there. And also, for example, if you look at Urdu and Pashtun, 2 of the languages spoken in that area, they have different variants for both male and female. So there'll be a slightly different word for a male lugger versus a female lugger. Very similar to how in Europe we refer to Lana and Lanarette, or Saker and Sacred.
Naomi, which countries is the Lugger found in?
So now you will just find them in India and Pakistan. However, formerly they used to be native to Nepal, Afghanistan, and even in some sort of a degree in Iran and Iraq. But unfortunately, due to the recent and rapid decline of the species, now you will only find them in India and Pakistan if you're lucky.
I did some previous research in preparation for our session today, and one of the sources of my research was one of the major conservation websites. And I can see from the work that you're doing that conservation website of this major international organization is really quite out of date. So hopefully the work that Project Lugger is doing is redressing that balance.
Yeah. So there's a lot of research, a lot of the project's work at the moment is being put towards trying to establish options and looking into the different options for furthering the research into the population numbers in the wild. The big problem at the moment is that they are just approximations, because the approved research and census that needs to be done on the species is not only astronomically expensive, but also logistically a big challenge to coordinate. And Project Lugger is a very small group of people. So at the moment, that's a line of inquiry which is just always open. The project is always looking for every opportunity to further it. But at the moment, there's widely understood and accepted that there's about 10 to 12,000 individuals and declining existing in the wild. But there is certainly a need for an up-to-date census as soon as the opportunity comes around.
Do we know how many there are in India and Nepal, respectively? Is it 5,000 in each country? Presumably not.
So to me personally, I'm not sure. I mean, I think as far as we're aware, the only approximations that we can really go off at the moment is the total figure for the whole wild population being about 12,000. But it's very difficult without the serious effort put behind the research, which is a big operation, to be able to establish exactly how many there are.
Naomi, what habitat does the Lugger falcon occupy?
So largely open scrubland, sort of semi-arid desert as well, and savannas being their primary habitat. So relatively open areas, very warm, of course, with few and scattered areas of cover about.
Naomi, what are the Project Lugger's aims and objectives?
So very simple to say aloud, but certainly very difficult to carry out in execution. So sort of there's two main areas of work when it comes to the project. That's the work that goes on in Europe, in the UK, and then the work that's going on at the moment in Pakistan. So in Europe and the UK, that the aim is to set up a breeding program that not only creates a backup population of luggers in captivity should the situation continue to decline in the wild, but also enable partners of the project, and there are over 30 different partners of the project across Europe, to fly luggers, to breed luggers, to raise awareness with people about luggers. And in our small bird of prey centre here, we currently have 2 luggers here, which we fly on our displays to get people talking about the species, because most people haven't heard of a lugger falcon when you talk to the public. Very few people have heard of them, let alone know the massive rate of decline that's going on at the moment. So just getting people talking about them, and the more awareness there is, the more opportunity there is for fundraising, which then of course should open doors down the line for the big scale areas of research and also the operations that want to be set up in the affected countries. So that exists in Europe and the UK, which has been incredibly successful over the 5 years the project has been going. And then in Pakistan, and our founder and chairman, Bob Dalton, has spent a lot of time over the last 2 years working in Pakistan and having fantastic relationships with various governing bodies out there to try and push the project forward. And the big focus at the moment is actually working towards a research and rehabilitation centre in Gilgit in northern Pakistan, which will be a massive bonus to the project, because finally the wildlife authorities out there, which Project Lugger, specifically Bob, has been working with very closely over the last few years. Finally, the wildlife authorities out there will actually have an option when they confiscate wild luggers. Instead of not knowing what to do with them, they're then able to take them to a dedicated location, which is not only important for those individual birds, but also for the wider issue, which is there being issues about not wanting to confiscate the luggers because there isn't an option, or there isn't a way to go forward. So hopefully this centre in Gilgit, if things can proceed as planned and as hoped, then this should make a massive change for the future of the species. So that work's going on in Pakistan, and the project is also starting to make inquiries with Indian and also in Myanmar governments about how the populations can be helped there. Of course, it can be a lot easier said than done to initiate those conversations and to get that progress starting. But the progress that has been made in Pakistan over the last couple of years really is quite amazing.
Looking over the medium to long term, Naomi, 5 to 10 years, bird of prey conservationists can take actions such as releasing captive bred individuals into the wild, fostering eggs and broods of chicks into wild nests, controlling predators, and providing supplementary food. Is Project Lugger planning any such measures, and how challenging is it to do that in country?
So those sort of methods that you've described there are incredibly challenging, because it's a huge responsibility to undertake, not just the species you're trying to conserve, but also the whole ecosystem. For example, at the moment, releasing lugger falcons now in the wild would be a pretty hopeless method to go about doing things, because there is so much work that needs to be done to create a safe environment for them first. But the project is planning, in conjunction with various bodies in Pakistan, to establish this rehabilitation and research centre, which will be the first major step. And they're also trying to research the feasibility of setting up a breed and release scheme in Pakistan. But like I say, there are a lot of complexities when it comes to setting up that sort of program, and a lot of work which needs to be done to actually ensure that it's going to be a viable option for the future of the species.
Naomi, you have a bird of prey centre in the southwest of England, West of England Falconry. Do you take on volunteers for Project Lugger there?
So the project itself is always looking for volunteers, and actually I think what is quite amazing about the project is actually the network of people that are working in a voluntary capacity. We've got several, there's the project has a group of 5 trustees and also several volunteers, which all pull together, not just from around the UK, but also all around Europe and even as far as Pakistan, of people contributing their time, knowledge and expertise to push the project forward, which is quite amazing. I mean, on a very small scale down here at our centre, I mean, I can speak for our whole team and that we're all really enthusiastic to do all we can to support Project Lugger, from our youngest volunteers helping create the activity, put together the activity packs for the children, the free activity packs that the project supplies, and encouraging visitors to take away leaflets, to our more senior members of staff who are commentating on demonstrations and displays and talking about Lugger falcons in the wild. And then myself, I have the role of press officer for the project as well, which I do as a voluntary capacity, and helping out with doing things a bit like this, and also creating the publicity for the project online, which is something I really, really enjoy. And then we've got amazing volunteers for the project all the way. For example, we've got Tula Stappert in Holland, who works as the overseas coordinator, and she's actually setting up and working on an amazing student exchange program between Holland and also in Pakistan. And then we've got Martin and Tara Ballum at Dorset Falconry Park, who've done an amazing job creating the beautiful Lugger Zone, which is a perfect area for people to learn about luggers, where luggers are breeding as part of the project. So there's loads and loads of people. I could be here all night to name all of those that have helped and that continue to help, that do their bit in terms of volunteering their time and efforts for the project.
Naomi, what's been your proudest moment working on Project Lugger?
Flying our young lugger for Lugger Day off-site, that was just wonderful. And also just, I think, generally seeing the project grow from strength to strength and continuing to develop has been pretty amazing as well.
Nowadays, for students who are very, very keen, aspiring bird of prey conservationists, would you happen to have a suggestion for a good project that might help the Lugger falcon?
Tula Stappert, and she's got 2 students with her at the moment who in Holland who are doing some research into genotyping at the moment, and also with a side project as well of trying to work out, which is a theory that Bob Dalton has had for some time, as well as several other individuals within the project, there is a nominate and a subspecies of Lugger falcon in the wild. So the research has been going on into genotyping and also that project on the side as well, which is a big help in trying to understand how the wild population is working and what we can do to continue to conserve and protect it. So the contribution of students and researchers is always massively welcomed by the project, and we're always open to discuss ideas and work together in terms of trying to create the bigger research base as we possibly can for this species that will help support future conservation projects.
Naomi, is there anything that you'd like to add?
I think one thing is that we're at the moment, probably by the time your video comes out, we will have just finished celebrating International Lugger Falcon Awareness Day, which also coincides with 5 years of Project Lugger as well. So I think it's quite momentous, really, that in just 5 years the project has achieved as much as it has through collaboration with some fantastic organisations. The IAF, the International Association for Falconry and Conservation, have been incredibly supportive from the beginning. Also, the Hawk Board here in the UK have also shown a huge amount of support to the project, and also the hard work of our founder and chairman Bob Dalton, which has certainly been his passion that started the project and continues to push it forward now, with a lot more keen supporters and people willing to give their time and knowledge to this amazing project than there were 5 years ago. But I think it's certainly a huge step forward, and the more we can get people talking about Lugger falcons and the more we can get people involved, the brighter their future will be.
Naomi, if people wanted to read more about the project, I can't help but see over your shoulder there a book entitled The Lugger Falcon by Mr. Bob Dalton.
Yeah.
Is that the standard work? What book could you refer people to?
Yes, I can. Last year, Bob published his fantastic book, The Lugger Falcon of Personal Passion, which is an amazing book, huge, lovely A4 copy, loads of colour photos, and yeah, it's certainly an incredible piece of work, not only into Lugger falcons in the wild, but also their role in falconry and how that's played out over the last century, and also all the work the project has done up to this point of conserving species. So it is the only dedicated work to Lugger falcons specifically, and produced by without doubt the leading expert on the species. So it is an amazing book. You can buy it from solentdesignpublishing.com, and you can also find a link to buy the book on the Project Lugger website, projectlugger.org, and it is a fantastic complete edition of all the information we hold on lugger falcons up to this moment. So certainly an amazing way to learn about the species, and also the purchase of the book, 100% of those proceeds go straight into helping the project. The author, the contributors, no one gets anything personally. It all goes to the project and to lugger falcons in the wild.
Naomi, you're obviously a totally committed bird of prey conservationist. I applaud your efforts. Thank you very much for being on the Practical Animal channel, Naomi Johns.
Thank you very much for having me, John, and I am always happy to help.
There are an estimated 10,000 to 20,000 lugger falcons left in the wild in India and Pakistan. Indeed, the species' natural range has been reduced from several countries to India and Pakistan. Project Lugger was set up in 2017 by falconer Bob Dalton. It is one of several conservation projects set up by falconers to conserve birds of prey. This is because falconers can and do bring a unique skill set to the conservation of birds of prey. You can read more about the lugger falcon in the book of the same name, The Lugger Falcon, by Bob Dalton. In Europe and the UK, there are over 30 partners working to establish a captive breeding population. If you liked this video, please click like, and please also consider subscribing. Thank you.